happy. Don't worry, be happy. You got no place to lay your head.
It's a matter of thinking about ourselves in the morning and listening to our heart, and then go to work and do it with the heart. Always the heart is something very important. If not, we leave our mental deciding instead of. It's not true. The mental is the background, the feedback we got from outside, from the school, from media. So your meditation is about the heart.
So I do transcendental meditation, and I mix in Kabbalistic tools. Something else interestingly that I've learned about, that I do a lot of speaking engagements around the world on, is perspective. How do we be empowered in the work? You might have a boss who's a jerk. What we could be talking about, somebody could say, well, screw that, my boss is an asshole. And so how do you deal with that person who's difficult or challenging? And one of the things I teach people, have you heard of neuro-linguistic programming?
Yeah.
So this blew my mind. At any moment, right now, we have billions of bits of information bombarding us.
Definitely.
But guess what we pay attention to? 1,000 to 2,000 bits. So we have all of this information at any moment that's bombarding us. So only a few thousand bits do we pay attention to. Guess what chooses that? Our perspective.
No.
So if you look for the good, one of my spiritual teachers told me something beautiful. She said, if you see a thing as good, it becomes good. If you see a thing as bad, it becomes bad. So what's the harm in choosing the good in everyone?
Definitely. It's a matter of perspectives.
Exactly.
It's like glasses. You choose which
Rose-colored
glasses,
exactly.
pink
I write
or black or white every morning. So
I write about that in my book. There was a great African shaman I heard speak many years ago that changed my life when I heard him say that.
oh, really?
Yeah, and I tell people in the book, choose the perspective that you're putting on for that day. Is it gratitude? Is it abundance? What are you going to look for? Because if I put on abundance glasses, even if I only have a dime to my name, there could be an abundance of sunshine or kindness or love, and you can always find whatever you're looking for if you choose that perspective.
Definitely. Gratitude is very important because it's higher
Frequency.
our vibrations and frequencies, and the judgment, criticizing, fears, they lower our vibrations. So the gratitude gives self-confidence. So every morning it's something like giving vitamins to our brain.
It is.
And that's a gift when
yeah, to be grateful. Just find at least one thing a day that you're grateful for. And something one of my other coaches told me that really made a big difference for me, tell yourself I love you every morning in the mirror.
yeah,
So when you're washing your face, just say, I love you. And my other favorite thing is, I am an extraordinary woman doing extraordinary things. And so I use that. My morning mantras are, I'm an extraordinary woman doing extraordinary things. I give thanks that all of my financial needs are met, and that money flows to me with ease and effortlessly from known and unknown sources.
Wow.
I just say those every morning, and it's true.
How many times?
I say it once, so after I start with my gratitude and my intentions, I go into my prayers, then I do my meditation, and then when I finish my final prayer after my meditation, I immediately declare that and just be grateful.
The mantra, I mean,
Yeah.
you repeat it many times, or just...
I say that only once.
Ah,
I
yeah.
have a mantra I say for my meditation, which is confidential. It's given to you by one of your
Yeah.
guides. And so I say that mantra internally numerous times to go deep in meditation.
Wow.
And then what I do is I say that final thing to seal my morning.
Okay. And when you are in your office, you have meetings, or you meditate, or you continue your connection, or you just when you finish in the morning and you go to the...
Great question. So life
office.
is about being reactive and proactive. And the minute we're reactive to a situation, it's anger, frustration, jealousy, resentment, bitterness. So something I teach people in business is 5 steps to being proactive rather than reactive. So if I have an upsetting situation, I walk into my office, the first step is pause. That's half of it. If you can pause before you say anything, you've already helped yourself get 50% of the way there. Then what my old vocal coach told me, allow a conscious, loving breath. So you pause, allow a breath, ground yourself, and then you ask yourself before you respond, am I taking this personally? It's the 3 Sufi gates I think you're supposed to pass it through. Am I taking this personally? If you are, don't respond. Go for a walk. You're still in reaction mode. And then 2 is after you've said, am I taking this personally? Then you want to say, does this need to be said? Sometimes we spread gossip, we spread misinformation, and things don't need to be said and can cause more harm than good.
Sure.
And finally, the last thing is, can it be said from a place of kindness? So if you can do any one, ideally just start with pausing. But if you can do those 5 steps the next time you're dealing with somebody who's yelling at you, or a deadline, or a frustrating situation, you'll be peaceful and balanced.
That's amazing. So, pause, then breathing.
Yep.
Then, am I taking this personally?
Yep.
And then,
So am I taking this personally? Does it need to be said?
does it need to be said?
And can it be said from a place of kindness?
Excellent. It's a nice tool.
Yeah, it's a very popular
Especially
topic.
in working and a world of competition.
It's not, there is no competition.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing. When you actually get to this place, we're all part of the same. People who are my competitors in my business are wonderful friends. I send them business all the time because there's an abundance. There's no lack or scarcity.
So when we are spiritual and we have a boss who is really very mental, like you say, as whole, or how to deal with these kind of things, or colleagues, or partner, or whatever.
Somebody who's challenging or demanding. Here's the interesting thing, going back to perspective. I'll give you an example. My first employee I ever hired disappointed me. She screwed something up once. So you know what I did? I looked for her to screw other things up. And she was constantly disappointing me, and I was so mad and pissed off at her. Now this, your listeners may not like this. Look at how you could be creating that person to be that way. When my business coach said, she's showing up that way because you're listening to her as a disappointment, I was furious. I was like, no, not true. And then I applied the principle, we were talking about the glasses earlier, and I looked at her and I looked for her to be successful. I saw her through a lens of success and amazingness, and this is really important. Reward good behavior. Don't punish bad behavior. So often in business we're taught, you have a coworker who screws something up, or you might be the boss and somebody screws something up, and you punish them. You screwed that up, I need this done better, etc. Instead, with this employee, what I did, I rewarded good behavior. Oh my God, that was amazing. That's exactly what I wanted. And I kept building her up and building her up.
Empowered her.
Exactly.
Give her positive vibes. And,
She is now my #1 employee in my company, and she's the
Wow.
director. I've now promoted her, but it all started with me. So I tell your listeners or anybody out there, if there's anybody who's frustrating or upsetting to you, 1, look at how you could be causing that. And 2, understand they're your greatest teachers and a gift.
Definitely. When we meet people, whether they are good or not, it's always a gift because we learn something.
Yeah, exactly.
We send as a messenger, so it's
Instead of saying like, why me, avoid what we call, there's a whole talk I do on the drama triangle, where you're in this triangle and you're either the victim, the hero, or the perpetrator. And if you're in that triangle, you're always blaming someone else. But the moment you take accountability and you look and ask yourself, how could I be causing, not that you are, how could you be, you have your power. That is full. Accountability is the greatest power you will ever have in business, or in life, or in personal relationships.
So it's a matter of being true with ourselves and to be more responsible than being victim about why this person is not good, she's done to me bad things, so what I have to learn and how did I create this situation?
Exactly.
That's the point.
What's the lesson?
Yeah. What's the lesson I get from it? So we had a lot of lessons.
Yeah.
So what about your the advices you give to women? We talked about yesterday about couples and relations. So it was amazing what you shared with me, and I would love that.
So
this kind of
I cannot recommend enough, Allison Armstrong, her class is called The Queen's Code, changed my relationship with my husband. I would have gotten divorced with him 3 years ago had I not learned then what I learned now. And in business, I teach her principles because so many people get upset. Let me be clear, it's not a man thing and a woman thing. It's a testosterone-driven thing and a non-testosterone-driven thing. As a female, I can be testosterone-driven when I'm single-focused. We've all had this happen where you walk into the office, you sit down, you're having your coffee, and then let's say your boss, who could be a dominant male or a dominant female personality, walks in. They ignore you. You say, "Good morning." They ignore you. They walk right past you. Guess what? It has nothing to do with you. That person is transitioning from task A to task B, and they actually can't hear you because they're single focused. That changed my marriage. I used to get home and I love to cook. So I'd be cooking, my husband would walk in, I'd say, "Hi honey, how was your day? I love you." And he'd be like, "Ugh," and go walk to the couch. And I would be furious. I'd be so mad, like sitting there cooking, like spitting in his food. And he would come up and kiss my neck 30 minutes later, kiss my neck. And then I'd be so pissed off I wouldn't want anything to do with him. Well, now I have a new perspective. It's not personal. It's that testosterone-driven people need time to transition from activity A to activity B. And she talks about, we call it apples and oranges in the conversations because it's not a man and a woman thing. Oranges, which would be your typical testosterone-driven person, are single-focused. And they actually can't even hear you sometimes. So if you approach me and I'm in the middle of a big work project, I can't hear you. And so I will tell my staff, they'll be talking to me, my staff will say something, and I'll be sitting there working, and then I'll realize 5 minutes later they were talking to me, and I'll say to them, I'm so sorry, I wasn't paying attention. And then I have to stop the activity I was doing, look at them, and then I can focus. But if you learn not to take it personally, and it's just an orange being an orange, you have freedom and power.
Definitely. And the way we are thinking is not the same way men they are thinking. So we can be multitask and do a lot of things, but men, they have to switch from point A to point B, and we have to respect their way of passing by from this state to another one.
Yeah.
But women, we can do a lot of things, and we need to talk about many things at the same time. So the point is to understand these
Differences.
Yes, these differences.
Yeah, it's so empowering when you understand that our brains just operate differently. Women have diffuse awareness, and we like to engage. This is very important when you're talking to a boss who's an orange or testosterone driven, to the point. People who are testosterone driven don't want to talk. So you and I, if we're both apples and we're effeminate, we want to talk, we want to give each other the little details. When you're dealing with somebody who's testosterone driven, they'll say get to the point. And the quicker you can get to the point, whether it's in a job interview or an important meeting, the more respect you're going to have from that person.
So how we can know whether this person is testosterone driven or not?
You can tell by how they are. Physically, non-testosterone people are typically more open, less rigid. People who are testosterone driven are often more clenched, and they're very focused. Yeah, they're very focused, and you can tell they just want you to get to the point. And it's so powerful in business because in business or at home, women, Allison describes millions of years of evolution. Women used to gather berries, and we used to have to give exact details of where to find the berries. Testosterone-driven people don't want details, they want facts. Fact, move on. Fact, move on. And if you're engaging with somebody who's more effeminate, you want to give as much detail as possible because that's how we're going to feel related and connected.
No, it's a matter of energy, because there are some men who are more feminine energy than masculine, and
Exactly.
a lot of women who have more masculine energy than feminine energy. So it's a matter of energy.
Yeah, and so women, it's about being receiving and open, so that's the thing. And men, it's about direction and penetration, not from even a sexual, but they're trying to achieve something. So they're very direct and focused.
And what about working with men? Men, they have their ego, and there is a limit to not to touch this ego. And women in business, they develop a lot of masculine energy and with strategy and focus and target results. So there is a clash most of the time. So what can you advise? You had this kind of cases.
I've been that person. I thought I attempted to emulate men when I opened my company.
Yeah.
And I attempted to be very forceful and direct.
Doesn't
and
work.
It doesn't work.
No.
And that's why I encourage any women in business, come from a heart space.
Mm-hmm.
Get curious. Ask questions. Understand. Because people who are effeminate, be a male or female, people who are effeminate have this capacity to get curious and to have more relatability than other people. You can be a woman and be in your power, but then you need to understand when to detach. I had an employee who was very upset about something, and I had snapped at her. I was very masculine with her the day before, and so I attempted to solve the problem the next day by being very masculine. Here's what happened, this didn't work, etc. But I could tell over here that there was still something with her heart that wasn't there. So I asked her to sit down. I said, is there still something there? And she said, yeah. So I sat down, I looked at her in the eye, and I said, what was that like for you when I jumped at you yesterday? And she broke down in tears. She said, it really hurt. You were my mentor, and I took it really personally. And we were able to have a beautiful breakthrough because she felt like she couldn't trust me anymore. And until I was able to sit down and get in my feminine energy, we wouldn't have been able to resolve that.
Mm-hmm. That's important, to communicate about emotions with its colleagues or employees, so that you create happiness
in the workplace.
That's what they advise most of the CEO and managers to do every week on Monday, for example, to talk to their employees. But some managers, they say to me that I don't have time on Monday. I'm focused about the committee, what I'm gonna do all the week, the strategy, how it's going on, and blah blah blah. So how can you advise these kind of managers who are focused on their targets, and they really don't, for them the human touch is just for family, but not it's at work. It's taken like a weakness.
What I suggest, there was a great article I read years ago. All great CEOs, executives, and managers spend 3 hours setting up their week. So my strategy that I'm going to set up for the coming week, I do on a Sunday. I take 2 to 3 hours on a Sunday. I look at my intentions, the strategies, everything I want to create. Mm-hmm. That way when I walk in the door on Monday, I can be present with my employees as opposed to just reacting to circumstances.
So you do on Monday a committee or a
meeting
so with all the people?
Yeah, meetings every Monday.
And you began with the human touch. I mean, how was your weekend?
Exactly. So
what's happening? And then
you engage, and then we talk about, so my team and I, every Monday, we talk about our intentions we're creating for the week with ease and effortlessly. So on Sunday, I create my own intentions for the week. I look at my strategy, I set it up. On Monday, the first thing I do is engage with them. How was your weekend? Tell me what happened. How's your family doing? You get curious, get personal. And then by the time we step into our 10 a.m. meeting, we set up our intentions for the week and we're already connected. Mm-hmm. And the employees feel that connectivity.
And it does work with men and women?
Yeah, both.
It's the same way you are?
I would say it works because typically if you're a manager or you're running a company, it doesn't matter if you're male or female, you're in testosterone mode. It's part of that. Definitely. And so I encourage all managers to pause and to get into their feminine at the beginning of every week just to connect with people.
That's amazing. So did you, your radio talk is every Monday in LA radio, right?
So yeah, every Monday at 4 p.m. It's on LA Talk Radio. People can also find it on iTunes. It's free to download and subscribe on iTunes. Okay. The show is called Get Yourself the Job. We have about 20,000 listeners a month, and I interview experts from around the world. Yeah. People who have their dream jobs, people who became successful entrepreneurs, people in the field of HR and career. Mm-hmm. And we talk about, what does it look like to be fulfilled? What does happiness look like? What steps do you need to take to land your dream job? And sometimes I interview people who already have their dream job, and we talk about their life path and how they got there.
Yeah, that's great.
I love it. It's a lot of fun.
And I hope that you will come one day in Morocco.
I
and,
intend to, absolutely.
and to do a workshop or a conference. Have you been there before?
No, I would love to go to Morocco. We're building our first school in Senegal later this year. A portion of my company's proceeds go back to charity, and then my intention is to go to Morocco after that, so I would be delighted to be there.
Yeah, that will be great. You're more welcome. So thank you so much for
Thank
all
you.
these nice things and the best practices and tools with just to be simple, just human.
Yeah.
Just energy. It's not a matter of strategy or tactics to do on the or manipulations to get more money you had. So it just we have to reconnect with ourselves in order to be just human without fearing anything. It's not a matter of weakness. It's a strong point when we get to this state to be a manager, a happy manager, human that makes
A
others
difference in the world, yeah.
Yeah, so you spread happiness to your employees, for job seekers, for all the companies. That's amazing, amazing
Yeah.
stuff.
I wake up every day grateful for what I get to do.
Yeah, it's a very nice job. I really I'm a big fan of all the tools of happiness, and I'm sure I will have more and more to share with you. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Jennifer.
Linda.
It was lovely to be with you and to spend this time
Very
with
grateful.
you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
See you
you.
very soon, and stay tuned on upvibrations.com for more coaches, more nice things happening all over the world. Bye.
Be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Ain't got no place to lay your head.